Oh my goodness. Let's begin with a good song. This one is one that it's not one that's from Tanzania, but it's one that I love to share, and it's real easy to follow because I sing a line and you sing it back. All right, everybody say, I want my life to make a difference. I want my life to make a change. I want my life to do some good here. I want my life to make a change. Yay! This is something we sing every time we do something here with the littles on the Wednesday mornings with the preschool folks. And it's something that it's become like a ritual because you want that whatever you do here during the time that you get to walk around breathing, you want it to be a positive thing. You want to leave the world a better place, right? And this experience has been one of those wonderful opportunities that I hope that I can relate to you a little bit today, and then we can kind of immerse ourselves in the idea with the food and the interactive stations after we have a little time together. All right, but here's the beautiful thing. The beautiful thing is that you can't watch the presentation and do the live stream. So you're not going to be able to see any visual aids, so I'll try to make sure I get it all accomplished and explained as we go along. The first thing I need to say is my name is Sister Broam. I was ordained in this church almost 1 year ago, coming up very, very soon. Thank you, Pisgah family, for all that opportunity to learn and grow, and I'm excited to be back and to share this adventure with you. This adventure is related to the consecration that happened in November following that ordination. I became a member of the deaconess community of the ELCA, and it is about 60 or so sisters all over the United States and Canada that are a part of that organization, and 5 ladies went to this event this summer. The deaconess community helps pay for travel and registration, woohoo, because it is an awful lot of dollars to be able to travel and to participate in this kind of something. So I'm very thankful for that. The deaconess community does a lot of other wonderful things. They support a lot of mission development, mission partners. We have mission partners with Koinonia, woo-hoo-hoo, right back here, the nonprofit that's over in Columbia Way with the Strums, and they do after-school care, but all kinds of projects, and the deaconess community is a part of that support. We hope, too, that we'll get Dolly's Closet, and on that, too, to maybe get her to apply. Whitney Spry, who is a part of Spry's Dirty Kitchen, or the part of Spry's Dirty Kitchen that's working all the food today, and was also catering the ordination, if anybody was here then. But Whitney also runs a closet, a clothing boutique, that all you got to do is come in and fill up a bag. She just takes donations. She begs and borrows, no stealing, begs and borrows for the hangers and all the things. So we're hoping that the deaconess community can be a mission partner with her project too, because she just does it with her whole heart. It's amazing. In memory of her mama, who used to be that kind of person that would just go out shopping and buy for the whole neighborhood. All right, so the deaconess community is a member of what's called DOTAC, and that's a lot of acronyms, but a lot of letters. That means the Diaconia of the Americas and the Caribbean. All right, so it is a member of that, along with the deacons of the ELCA that are a member of what's called EDGE. And then there's all kinds of folks in that organization, like Methodist deacons and Episcopalian and Baptists, and all kinds of folks are a part of this. So when you participate in an event, you don't just go to be with Lutheran buddies, you go to be with the world. I was able to go during internship to Minneapolis, to the DOTAC assembly that they have once every 4 years, and the next one will be in a couple of years, and it'll be in Panama. So I hope that I can be able to get down that way and participate. Now, DOTAC is partners with 2 other regions of the world, including DAP, which is Diaconia of the Asian Pacific Islands, all right, and then Diaconia region of the of Africa and Europe, DRE. So DRE, DOTAC, and DAP are 3 ways that deacons meet and gather, and then they all get together once every 4 years for a world assembly, which was what this event was that I participated in. So there were people from all over the globe, and it was even more special because the last one was canceled because of COVID, so they had not had a gathering in a while. But there were people that serve as deacons and deaconesses in all walks of life, in all places, and we heard English spoken with a Scottish accent or a German accent or a South Brazil accent or Brazilian or Australian, and your brain kind of hurts sometimes because you were like, I know they're speaking English, but I'm not really sure what that word was because it was the accents and everything were different, but it was just amazing. And the one takeaway that I want to share with everyone tonight is that I walked away feeling like there was no need to build a boat. I didn't need to go out and gather animals 2 by 2 because there are people all over this world wanting to do God's work, wanting to share God's love, are sharing God's love and light in the world. And so it was such an exciting and affirming experience. What I wanted to do tonight is just kind of give you an overview of that experience. So there's 2 things kind of going on here side by side, which is really interesting. It's kind of like when you learn to be a rostered leader, you got 2 things going on side by side. You're going to seminary and you're learning about candidacy and you're trying to juggle all of that at the same time. So we have the event, the assembly, but we also have a friend of Elizabeth and I's from seminary, Lillian Okoronkwo, is a doctor, a medical doctor, and she spent time in Moshi, Tanzania, and worked there 2 separate times. And so she had a friend there, and I thought that this meant that I was going to meet Anna, bring greetings from Lillian. No. Anna was my personal tour guide for the whole week, and it was absolutely amazing. So I had the assembly experience going on, and then I got to really be in this place, it was such a lovely, oh my goodness, experience. You know, like I wasn't expecting it at all. I thought she would just like come and say hello one day, or we'd meet up. No. First day she met me, she took me to the market. You know, you got to know how to get there, Deetta. You got to leave your hotel like this, and you walk down. I'm thinking, I'm not going anywhere without you, you know. but we went and checked out the market, and some of the pictures that Leslie was able to put on the display. Thank you, Glenn, for saying put some pictures up, you know, so since we don't have them here to look at on the screens, but so colorful. And in fact, Glenn was inspired by one of those pictures to create like the market. So when you walk in, that's his idea. It is just beautiful because it does capture all the colors and all the bustle of the market. So the event began on a Monday, and we registered on a Monday, and then we were off and running. There were presentations, and there were workshops. There was learning opportunities, but there was also, oh my goodness, there was food. There was tea time at this time, breakfast here, tea time here, lunch here, tea time, and supper. So we ate really good. Worship experiences, and every night we had some type of entertainment or dancing or music from that culture and area, and it was just fabulous. The first night, we had singers from the Faraja Primary School of special needs students. And that's what I said, if anybody wanted to make a donation tonight, love to collect some money for those. And I had a song of theirs queued up. Maybe it would work or maybe not, but I can send that out, or we can have it playing in the gym at one of the tables. But these folks were unbelievable. There's about 96 children at the school. It's a residential school. It is supported by Lutheran. And when I was at the Satsagapa conference roster leader meeting on Thursday, y'all, Nathan Gregg, Pastor Nathan, who is with Novus Way, he actually was a pastor at a church in Virginia that the founders, the Lutheran folks, the founders of this school were members. So he actually had visited the same school in 2007 that I got to visit in 2025. It was unbelievable. So, but yeah, so it's a Lutheran school. The purpose of the school is to help the kiddos with their unique disability, but it's also to teach them about how to be independent, how to have a vocation, how to work in a world that's not really designed. Because when they say, watch out for uneven ground, it means rocks and dirt, and it's not easy for somebody who has mobility issues. Elizabeth Cote, wave your hand. Elizabeth just got back from Yagam, which is a youth mission, a global mission. I couldn't come up with all the letters. Was it Pastor Bekah did that? Pastor Bekah, you were in Hungary, and Elizabeth was in Senegal. So yeah, so she's nodding her head over there, like when they say. What was my other option that I never used? Yeah, so those kiddos sang. I had to go to the bathroom, and Tanzanian toileting is different than our experience of toileting. But if you use a handicapped stall, then everything seems normal to you. But I went to the bathroom. At one point, I learned to go really quick, like in times when other people weren't maybe there, so I could be handicapped. And so I was there when two of those young ladies walked in. One of them had severe scoliosis. Her name was Elizabeth. And the other one, child was named Mary. And Mary said, "What's your name?" And I introduced myself. And she said, "We're just so glad you're here." And I said, "I'm so glad to be here." And Elizabeth said, "We love you." And then she ran to the bathroom. I was so amazed at their confidence and their poise and all what the school is doing to have them learn. One of the things they're learning to do is to sing, because they sing beautifully, and they sang us a song about that we're created in God's image and we're created to praise you, Lord. It was just amazing. So that was our Monday night entertainment. I got a visit to the market, and Monday night we got serenaded by those singers. When you go in the back where we have food and some fellowship time, there will be stations set up in the way back. In the station number 1, there's a puzzle that you can put together that some of the yogis have already tried to put together for all the countries of the world. And I learned from Elizabeth that there are 54 countries in Africa. Woohoo! I didn't know that. Tanzania is over on the east coast of Africa, and it takes over 20 hours flying time in the air to get there. I flew from here to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Amsterdam. We missed our flight in Amsterdam. We stayed a day in Amsterdam, and then we went to Amsterdam to Kilimanjaro. Then we were about an hour's ride from the airport. So you'll see a first station about just the countries of the world, so just to familiarize yourself, because we don't know other places as well as we know our own. And just like this morning with our gospel lesson, this looking within and looking, we want to look out. We want to see the people like Jesus saw the lady who's, not one other people are recognizing with her handicap, but Jesus did, and Jesus, shares love in the way that we need to be looking for those places that need that love too. So another station you'll see is a station that kind of introduces you to Swahili, which is the language of that part of the world. It's the, I think of the Googles say it's the most popular indigenous language, most well-known indigenous language, but caribou means welcome. And let me teach you thank you. Everybody say asante. Asante. We said asante a lot. Asante. Asante. And then if you want to say thank you very much, it's asante sana. Asante sana. Asante sana. Yeah, when you say please, it's a lot longer. I never got please. But I got thank you, and I got thank you very much. We sang a song with this word, so this made it easy. Amani. Amani means peace. Everybody say amani. Yeah. And then blessings are baraka. Baraka. So whenever you say peace and blessings, you put an N-A in between it to hook it up with the and it's peace and blessings is amani na Baraka. Amani na Baraka. It's all good. But there's some ways to kind of play with the language there too. The second night, we had the folks from a college dance company come and share lots of traditional dances, drumming, and then that was the night the guy played the flute with his nose. So I've got a video of that. Can't show you that, but yeah, that was like, and it was so funny because he was playing, and he turned around and you're like, oh my gosh, he's playing with his nose. It was like, but these folks were folks that were very passionate about sharing traditional dances and music, and they were not folks that were scholars at the higher education. They were folks that they had reached out into the community to help people, that this was the way that they could share and their vocational track. And so that was really, really fascinating and very interesting. So one of the stations that you can check out when you head to the back is there is a station to make a musical instrument. You can take a Easter egg and you can put buttons in it or beans in it or lentils are they beans? And what's the other? There's one more kind of option, or you can macaroni. You can mix it up, but you can make you a little shaker so that you can make you an instrument from Tanzania. All right, so the food. It was amazing. It's a lot of things are familiar, a lot of roasted meats, and I made it a point to try everything except the sardines. The sardines that were fried, anything looking back at me, I really kind of drew the line right there. I wasn't able to go there, but I did. I was the only one of the deaconess sisters that tried the goat. I tried the goat, you know. It was so funny. Anna had told me that day on our excursion, she actually came to the workshop I presented on mindfulness, and she told me that day about how things get named and get mixed up. So when somebody came and said, what is that mountain over there? She said that somebody, you know, in the history, you know, responded, oh, that's too high to climb. Well, that's too high to climb in Swahili is Kilimanjaro. So the very tallest mountain in Africa you're at the foot of it when you're in Moshi, and it's Kilimanjaro. Which is another thing that she explained, and I didn't really get this one very well, but it was about when you have a wedding, they roast the goat, like the whole goat. All right, and so it kind of makes me think of our barbecues. Like, you know, we just did a barbecue with a pig and everything. So, but no, we're sitting there waiting for dinner that same night. Like, she tells me about this, and boom, it happens. Like, speak it, and it happens, right? And out rolls this goat with like some type of greenery in its mouth, and they carve it all up. I was like, oh my gosh. In fact, I got a video more than a picture because I was trying to get a picture, but it was like, there goes the goat. And then it came back, it was all wrapped up in aluminum foil and all this kind of thing. But the goat was just, the meat that we served ourselves was just in a tray, you know, like just how you would do buffet. And so it tasted kind of like stewed beef to me. It's kind of stringy-ish, kind of, and you know, I don't know, probably some folks have had goat before, but pumpkin greens that were steamed, banana stew, plantain stew, didn't like banana stew, liked plantain stew. Anna said they have bananas in Tanzania, and I said, well, what kind of bananas? She said, all kinds of bananas. I didn't know there were all kinds of bananas, but you'll see some of those highlighted. Tonight, Whitney dug up some good recipes for fried plantains, which would be like a fried banana. And then there's the little tiny bananas. Somebody else called them finger bananas, but then Anna said she never heard that term before. But they're really tiny. And then there's these green-looking kind of bananas that I think it's mantoka or something like that. But Whitney's got all that good stuff for us to try tonight. So we thank her for doing that. The market experiences were amazing, very different than shopping at Walmart. And it was the negotiating, you know, kind of idea. And so I'm totally not good. But if you're a flea marketer, You probably are good at that, right? So, but yeah, you could go and get pretty much anything you wanted in the market. And one of the days, on Wednesday, Anna took us back to the market to find places to buy cloth. So I wanted to bring Lillian home some cloth for all the connection of her connecting me and Anna, and we had such a great time. And Anna made sure we shopped at places where the cloth was a good material, because Anna washes all her clothes still by hand. 2 hours a day, she does laundry. Yeah, that's what I said. She said those machines mess up your clothes. I thought, not that much. Every time I throw my stuff in the ringer, I think, gosh, and Anna, 2 hours a day. She says it's good exercise, Dieta. I said, yeah. I just want to do my walk, right? Oh my goodness. But she took us to the, and that trip, she kind of took us behind the scenes, and there was a little fella that was pulling like a milk carton on it with a string, and you just, you walk away, or I'm speak for myself, I walked away feeling like we have so much here. It is so abundant, what we have. And yet, I have never met happier people on this planet than these folks who don't have, seemingly, from our perspective, very much. What they do. They have rich culture, rich traditions. The land is rich. Avocados, bananas, coffee, you name it, it grows there. Anna told me that last day when we were visiting, nobody's going to go hungry here, Dieta, because what's left over from the banana farms, there's food, and they have this sense of community that we don't. We tend to stay in our lane, right? We don't mess with other folks' business or whatever. Even then, we probably need to be about it some more. Yeah. So that was very eye-opening, and some of the pictures that just of what we saw in the market were just kind of reminded, you kind of hit that home. Now, anytime I rode in the car with Anna, it was always like, because you're on the wrong side for the first part, right? I mean, that's a relative thought too. And the driver's position is on the wrong side, and there are absolutely no traffic lights anywhere, and there's not even really lines in the road, and if there is, it doesn't really matter. But it works for those folks. And motorbikes coming up the middle of the road or down the side of the road or all over motorbikes don't have the same vehicle laws and things, and don't have to obey the same kind of ideas, and so they are everywhere. And I said something to her. I said I wasn't quite ready for all the noise. Like, there's motorbikes and things going on till wee hours of the morning. She says, "Oh, Tanzanians like to drink. The Tanzanians like to drink." She said, "Dieta, you're above a bar." So the hotel was right over the bar. But yeah, lots of motorbikes. I asked her though originally about accidents and things like that. And she said when motorbikes were introduced, they actually had a wing of the hospital dedicated to that injury healing. But people finally figured it out. And of course, it's such an inexpensive way to travel, especially if you put 3 people on the bike, which I saw a lot. And, people carrying like a big bale of hay on their head on the bike. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I took so many pictures of people carrying things on their head. And Anna looked at me the last day. She says, "I can do that." I said, "Well, I can't." And I am so fascinated by how people, she says, "Well, you do it from the time you're very young." She said, "If I put that on your head and you squish," I said, I would. Wouldn't be strong. The Tanzanian money is right now, so this, and those of you who know me well know I can't do math with a flip. I was trying to decide how long the lady had been handicapped this morning, and I couldn't do 225. I think I got to 2007, 18 years with, anyway. I was trying to figure out like how long, if you had been ill, would 18 years be from, anyway. So I was having trouble with that simple math. So whenever I learned that they use shillings, and they use, it's thousands of shillings. So when you hold a 10,000 shilling note, which is beautiful, beautiful money. I'm sorry I couldn't print it out in color, but there are some pictures down there. A 10,000 shilling note is like holding $3.50 or $4. all right, and your hand. 10,000 shilling note. So you have to be careful because you can't think like of $4 or something like that because, you know, when you get, if you wanted to give, like, say, an offering or something, you want to give $20, I mean, you had to really do a lot of math about, like, how many shilling notes that would be. A cup of coffee, Lydia, you probably would like this a lot. A cup of coffee, there is going to be about $1 to $3, which means that's already factored backwards, you know, to let you know that, you know, your Starbucks habit would work there, you know. The avocados, and avocados don't grow like our little green avocados. They grow big, and they're big and brown. And I put my hand on one, and I was like, oh my gosh, she said they grow as big as my head. I said, they sure do. So avocados, so be thinking about, like, that's probably already 4 avocados when you got one. Depends on the season. You can get 4 avocados for a $1 US dollar. And off season, you would get 2 for $1 US dollar. Let's see. Let me give you another idea. Oh, you can buy vegetables for the whole meal. And I think he said, what did he say? This was, I met another friend, Dr. Elinema Molel, was a deacon. I met at one of our meal times, and we became good correspondents. And he was telling me, and he told me the shillings that would be, and I can't find it, but it was 41 cents per day. 41 cents for the meal, for all the vegetables that you would need for the meal. Isn't that something? Yeah, I can't, like I say, math is not my forte, but there's some shillings down there, and you can look at some ideas of things that cost. All right. Another station down there is a prayer labyrinth station, and now I can't get back in my computer. Hang on. The prayer labyrinth station is a project that we've been working on that I learned about from Create and Me. Leslie's got the strips of cloth laid out. All you got to do is write the prayer requests that you have, and then they get woven into like a braid that gets made up into like a ball, and then we can take a prayer labyrinth and put it wherever we may want to put one. And so share your prayer request. That'll be helpful. Because those prayers will be prayed over as they're woven in, and they'll also be prayed over as we walk the labyrinth. Is everybody familiar with what a labyrinth is? Or is that a new idea for people? So it's like a maze that you put on the ground, and you can buy like a big map of them, or you can have them made with stones and very permanent. But this one is so cool because you can take it wherever you go. It's just that ball of kind of like a yarn ball when you've got all those prayer wrapped up in the braids. So I told you about Dr. Elianema. He was really fascinated with my workshop. He didn't get the chance to go, but I gave him the paperwork, and the workshop is down there. Did a workshop on mindfulness to people that didn't speak English. They had translators for all the things except the workshops. And so, again, I was like trying to explain. But I'll share with you one of the ideas that we did, because you can see how we can just make it really visual and everybody be present, is breathing and being right in the moment and not thinking about something that might happen that's got you worried, or not stuck on something that did happen that's got you upset. And so if you'll just trace your finger up with a breath in, and then you go down that finger with a breath out, and then up a finger with a breath in, and then down with a breath out, and then up you go. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and let it go, and you can start over if you need to. You got another hand if you need it, and you can take some very deep breaths. We did a lot of neat things that you could do with your hand. We also made some little bracelets that were Jay was cleaning up at Midas, and they were chunking some key rings. So the key rings were, you can interlace them together. I had different charms. I only had one charm left, which was the 5 for the 5 things that you can do to 5 deep breaths, 4 things you see, 3 things you're grateful for. What else is it, Diane? 2 things 2 people you can count on, thank you, and then 1 thing you're looking forward to. And that's all written down there if you'd like to have that a little in your back pocket. And you can make a bracelet if you want like to too. All right, so I'm on to the home stretch here, and you're what, whew, my goodness, when she stopped talking. All right, so then the last day, we had more dancers. We had the Maasai folks that are very long, tall, thin folks. And then Anna was of the Chaga tribe, and so the Chaga people are like more like, you know, like sturdy kind of a body built. And so we went to the last day. I couldn't talk anybody else into going with me, but our flight didn't leave till 9 o'clock that night. And so Anna took me out for the day. And we went to a college that is preserving this archaeological site of a Chaga bolt house. So the Chaga were having tribal wars with the Maasai, and they were fighting over the cattle. Right? And so it was so funny because one of the tour guides, one of the students was Maasai, and then Anna, and they were like kind of play fighting at one point, and she said, but we're clever, we're more clever, and sure enough they are. They, underneath their house, built a tunneling system down into the earth, and I mean, we went down into this tunneling system that was built in like the 1700s, and it was so big that they had places and cubbies cut out, like, you know, dug out of the rock for livestock, for cooking. They had ventilation systems, they had sleeping areas, and so the women and the children would escape down into the underground, which ran into the water fall, the rivers on each side of this particular tunneling system, and they could be safe, and then the men were up there fighting out, you know, about who gets the cattle. So it was absolutely fascinating, and so there's some pictures of that experience as well. After that, we toured a waterfall, and I have never felt, they said, you could do this, and I'm like, I don't know about this, because they're like having me wanting to jump over ditches and things. I'm like, yeah, but sure enough, they said, just go for it, we got you, and I would like reach out, and somebody would grab me enough to pull me over. So it was 2 students, a professor, a guide, and Anna, and for all that fun, it cost me $15. And I said, here's 25, because it was absolutely amazing to have a personal excursion that last day, and for somebody to hold your hand and say, I got you, it just made you feel, it was that wonderful feeling that you knew they did, and I didn't fall down, and I made it up to the top of the waterfall, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. I think they were using me for a guinea pig because they were taking some pictures and things, and they're trying to develop this area for more tourism. So Anna took me to a hotel that she does marketing for, the Dual Mountain Lodge. I'm ready to go back. If anybody's ready to go back, let me know if you're interested. But she said we could spend some time in the bush, but also go to some of these places that I got to visit. Like I went to go visit the folks that sang for us that first night at the Faraja Primary School. I got to see the Diaconic Training Center. That was amazing opportunity, and you learned as much on the bus ride going there as you did during the event. Does anybody have any particular question of something that I've said or didn't say enough of, or everybody had their feel? What do they wear? Yeah, Anna wore clothes like you and I do. She wore light blue jeans and stuff like that, which I still don't understand how she went to the bathroom and all that. I need to ask her all that. But anyhow, but a lot of people were, I'm glad you asked that, Eddie, because women could not show their knees or their shoulders. You had to have that part of yourself covered. But yes, everybody just wore kind of like what I would say normal is a relative word. But some people wore traditional dress. And Elizabeth brought home some things from synagogue. I didn't bring anything, like wrapping the cloth and stuff around. And then it was really fascinating at the World Assembly because there are lots of orders for the deaconesses that had the traditional garb. So when you think back to what nurses looked like maybe in the 1960s with the little fancy little hat and that little apron and all that, there were a lot of deaconess sisters that wear that all the time. All the time. And each of the orders have different little foldy thingies on their head, like their hat. And one, the tables were so close together. One time when I got up and out, this lady's hat stuck so far out, like I was like bumping into her hat when I was trying to sneak by her, sorry, but yeah, it's really interesting.
You said the bathrooms were different.
Yeah, okay, so toileting. All right, so, toileting. All right, so toileting would be like, all right, help me, Gina. It's like a hole in the ground, and there's like the ceramic area around it for your feet. All right, and a squat toilet. Thank you. I didn't know. So if you have different plumbing, it's not as easy sometimes than it is for others. Now, the hotel did have Western toilets, thanks for the words. And like I say, the handicap stalls, which I got really good at going in the middle of things when it would get like dull, like go to the bathroom when nobody else is going. Or I found one place where there were two stalls, yeah. But I tried it, but sometimes you're just so dang tired that you just didn't want to take all that stuff off. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So the other thing that Anna told me is Tanzanians go to church. Everybody goes to church. The church is growing in this part of the world. And there are churches everywhere. So yes, a lot of Lutheran influence in this area of the world, but there was mosque in that Moshi and, lots of churches around. Yeah, good question. Yes, Leslie? The children singing? Yeah, we went to their school. Yes, there's a residential school where they're there, and then they get bused back to their families and things during the breaks and stuff. But they are there, and the school's helping their families to learn how to help with it. And that place has wheelchair ramps and is all, all the bells and whistles. I think so. And we did try to ask at one point, but we didn't get an answer about what does it cost to school a child, like for a year. So, but we didn't get a firm answer that I can remember. 96 children at the school, and it's kindergarten or whatever the words are till year 6. So, like what we would think I think 6th grade. Yeah. All righty. Well, we will close with a blessing. And like I say, I'm so sorry the presentation can't show and live stream to share about the adventure because I am such a very visual person, and the slides would have helped it be a little more flow maybe. But I thank you so much for coming and just hearing about it. It was phenomenal, and I am really thankful that God has, that walk with God has led me to this part of life where everything that I've ever done with teaching and being a parent and working in the library and being a school counselor and all of that has come together in what I do now. And it's absolutely amazing to be out in God's world and meet these folks that I would never, ever in my life think that I would have connections now that I do with so many different people. The next World Assembly will be in the Philippines in 4 years. And so I sat next to Cheetah, I sat next to Ristula, folks that I sure hope I get to see them in a few years down the road. All right, the Lord be with you. Let us pray. Dear God, thanks for these folks' patience. Lord, thank you for them listening to me go on and on about this experience. Please help their hearts be touched and opened about other ways that we might share your love in the world. Lord, help us to try this food. Help us to be adventurous and have a little courage, and help us to have some good fellowship, which will nourish us, our relational health, Lord. We thank you so much for the opportunity to gather at your house. In your name we pray, and all God's children say, Amen. All right, we'll close like we began. I want my life to make a difference. I want my life to make a change. I want my life to do some good here. I want my life to make a change. Yay! Thank you, guys.